Oh, okay, folks. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Today is Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. Welcome to our Administrative Matters meeting. As is our tradition, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. My name is John Kafalis, Commissioner from District 1, joined by my Commissioner colleagues, Kristen Stevens from District 2, and Jody Shedek McNally from District 3. Across the way, we have a couple of folks, it looks like, from the Clerk and Recorder's Office who will be taking minutes and, of course, recording this public meeting. Our County Manager, Lorinda Volker, and some of our key staff, Tom Clayton from our communications, and Sarah Martin from our Commissioner's Office. The first item on our agenda is public comment. I don't think anyone has signed up for public comment. There were a couple of names, but they might be here for the various proclamations. But before we move on, Sarah, has anybody asked to offer public comment via phone?
No, Commissioner.
All right. And is there anyone here who wishes to offer public comment? There we go. I think that is the best public comment that we can receive this morning. I wonder if that person would like to come to the mic so we can hear it more clearly. It's a great way to start the day, frankly. So, other than that individual, and we'll make sure that that person does sign up or we have that person's name for the record, is there anyone else who wishes to offer public comment? All right. Then we'll close the public comment portion of our Administrative Matters meeting, and we'll move on to approval of the minutes. Let's see, Commissioner Stevens, would you do the honor, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes for the week of April 29th, 2024.
Thank you. That is a proper motion. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. Sarah, would you present next week's draft schedule, Commissioner's schedule?
This is the Commissioner's schedule for May 13th through the 18th, 2024. On Monday, May 13th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Commissioner Shaddock McNally may participate in the virtual Larimer Regional Opioid Abatement Working Group meeting. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Shaddock McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Forest Health Council Leveraging Resources Committee meeting. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources, in the hearing room on the first floor. From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., the Commissioners may attend the Larimer County Boards and Commissions Ice Cream Social in the hearing room on the first floor. On Tuesday, May 14th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., there will be a liquor license hearing for Horsetooth Store, Gas and Liquor, LLC in the hearing room on the first floor. From 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Shaddock McNally may participate in the virtual South Platte Basin Roundtable meeting. From 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Environmental and Science Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. On Wednesday, May 15th, from 7:45 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Fort Collins/Larimer County/Poudre School District Liaison meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 8:45 a.m. to 9:15 a.m., Commissioner Shaddock McNally will speak at the Larimer County New Employee Orientation meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., there will be a work session regarding the 2025 budget targets and strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., the Commissioners may attend the Veterans Together meeting in the Boyd Lake Conference Room on the first floor. On Thursday, May 16th, from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis may participate in the virtual Housing Catalyst Board of Commissioners meeting via Zoom. From 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens will participate in the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Executive Director interviews at 419 Canyon Avenue, Suite 300 in Fort Collins. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Rural Action Caucus. From 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., there will be Common Grounds with Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Guest topic and location will be announced prior to the meeting. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Finance Committee meeting via Microsoft Teams. From 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the Estes Valley Planning Advisory Committee meeting via Zoom. From 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Land Stewardship Advisory Board meeting at the Horsetooth Area Information Center at 4200 West County Road 38E in Fort Collins. From 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Commissioner may attend the Board of Health meeting. It's a hybrid meeting in person. It'll be at 1525 Blue Spruce Drive in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. On Friday, May 17th, from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Middle Income Housing Authority Board meeting. From 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Northern Colorado Partners meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Headquarters at 6060 Broadway in Denver or virtually via Zoom. On Saturday, May 18th, from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioners will participate in the opening of the Larimer County Farmers Market at 200 West Oak Street in Fort Collins. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Stevens will host story time at the Larimer County Farmers Market at 200 West Oak Street in Fort Collins. And from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Homeward Alliance Ungala at Colorado State University at the Laurie Student Center at 1101 Center Avenue Mall in Fort Collins.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, do you have any questions or feedback? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Sarah, for all of that, and thank you to Melissa and Brenda, all of you wrangle our schedules, and just we say this every week, but it's just gratitude. Also on May 18th, after the opening of the Larimer County's Farmers Market, I'm running down to Kids Path to the new location on West 69th to do the volunteer appreciation, and then I'm planning. I don't know if my colleagues are coming, but I'm planning to head up then to the Burns area with the Coalition for the Poudre Watershed to plant trees for a few hours. And so that location is kind of a large area up the by the CSU Mountain Campus. I don't know the exact, but you could just put that up there. But I'm just going to be up there, and I'm not sure who else is going. But it should be an interesting long drive. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I haven't added it to my schedule, but I also will be attending the Ungala for Homeward Alliance on the 18th.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm good to go. So we now move on to our consent agenda. For those of you who may not know, the consent agenda is, we go over it quickly in its entirety. We don't get into details unless a commissioner pulls something off the consent agenda. And these are typically things that are administrative, routine matters, and that is primarily why we don't get into big discussions about these things. So I will go through the consent agenda. If you're interested in more details, you can go to you can go online and find all of the specifics of the various documents. So with that in mind, to begin, there are, on today's consent agenda, Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, there are 31 abatements or refund of taxes, and these have to do with agreements between the assessor's office and the property owner regarding taxes owed or refunds owed. There are 31 of those, and you should be all happy that I'm not going to go through all 31. And I bet our public commenter is really happy. Then we have 31 of those, and again, if you look at the details, you'll see the different dollar amounts where there were adjustments by the assessor, or where the assessor determined that their value was appropriate. Moving on to the next category, agreements. There are 4 agreements. The first one is a grant agreement, Third Amendment to the Larimer County Rental Assistance Grant Program 2 between Neighbor to Neighbor and Larimer County for administration of our Emergency Rental Assistance 2 program, ERAP. The term of this, it's a Third Amendment to an agreement that we already have with Neighbor to Neighbor. The term is August 1 of 2022, goes back through July 31 of 2024. And this is, as I said, between the county and Neighbor to Neighbor. The second agreement is for a contract for electric service and Poudre Valley Rural Electric Association non-exclusive right-of-way easement. This is an approval for a right-of-way easement in order to provide electrical service to the Larimer County North landfill, the new landfill that we'll be starting to construct, I believe, this year. The total dollar amount here, and this is indefinite regarding the easement agreements, the total dollar amount is approximately $634,000. The next agreement is a GOCO, Great Outdoors Colorado Grant Agreement, Heaven's Door Ranch Acquisition Project. You may have read about that in the paper. It's pretty exciting. This is between our Department of Natural Resources and GOCO. The dollar amount is $1.5 million, a grant in order to help us with the purchase of that property, which will be open space and eventually will have access by the public. The terms are April 8th, 2024 through March 13th, 2026. The fourth agreement is a development agreement for Taylor Planned Land Division, file number 21-Land 4135. This is a development agreement that's been discussed at previous land use hearings in the past. These are regarding improvements, and no collateral will be collected. Moving on to the next category, appointments. The first one is recommended reappointments to the Estes Valley Planning Advisory Committee. Drew Webb and David Converse will be reappointed to the Estes Valley PAC. That's from July 1 of 2024 through June 30th of 2027. Typically, the terms on these boards and commissions are 3 years, with some exception, such as the Board of Health, which is 5-year terms, and that's set in state statute. Recommended appointments to the Planning Commission, 2 new folks, Nick Cassidy and John Weiss, and they are being appointed for full terms beginning this July, ending June 30th, 2027. Finally, recommended reappointment to the Planning Commission, Patrick Rowe, who is currently serving on that Planning Commission, and he will be reappointed for another 3-year term beginning July 1st. Moving on to liquor licenses. You can see all these are really diverse and fun topics. Liquor license, new issuance, Horsetooth Tavern. A hotel and restaurant license, approval and issuance. This is in Fort Collins. The next is liquor license renewal, Raywa Ranch LLC. This is up in Glendive. And hotel and restaurant type of license, approval and issuance. Moving on to miscellaneous, we have edge air stipulation. Again, this is related to property taxes, and here the tax year is 2023, and we just have one of those Finally, resolutions. There are three findings and resolution approving the CLHS Enterprises LLC rezoning. Again, this is a matter that we discussed at a land use hearing, and that's out on East Mulberry, if I remember correctly. And secondly, findings and resolution denying the Crown Castle Appeal 24-GNRL 0550. And this is in regards to discussion that we had for the installation of wireless communication facilities. Number three, resolution of the Larimer County Board of Commissioners expressing intent to provide funding to support Veterans Plaza of Northern Colorado. If you've been out to the Veterans Plaza of Northern Colorado at Spring Canyon Park, and they'll be having some excellent Memorial Day events out there. They've been working on getting a really nice sign installed, and we are fortunate that we have some American Rescue Plan Act funds that we can commit to this project, subject to receiving all of the funds that are necessary. So that's kind of exciting. I believe that's all I have. Do either of the commissioners wish to pull anything off of the consent? Alrighty then, nor do I. Let's go on with the motion. Your turn, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
I move to approve the consent agenda for May 7th, 2024.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a proper motion. I don't believe there's any further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That passes 3-0. We do not have any commissioner guests that are listed, so we can now move into discussion items. And all of our discussion items this morning are proclamations, and I would submit that this is a wonderful way to celebrate all of the people that are providing service to our families and children, as well as the diverse tapestry that we have in Larimer County that represents all the different community sectors. The first proclamation is recognizing May 2024 as Asian Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month. Is there anyone who's going to speak to that, Lorinda?
I can set this one up.
Pardon?
It's an echo. I can speak to this one.
Please.
So our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board has reviewed and does review for us proclamations and matters of importance that you want to bring attention to. I know you have guests today who will come to speak to this, but it is our pleasure to recognize people in our community who do extremely important work and add value to our community in various ways. I will also say that the county has sponsored an event along with Heart and Soul in Loveland on May 18th from 12 to 4 at the Loveland Library. And so I would encourage folks to go and enjoy that Day of Heritage. And I think there's maybe a speaker who'd like to come up.
Thank you, Lorinda. Come on forward, folks, if you would like to. I think the way we'll do this is if you'd like to make some comments, of course, you're more than welcome. And then I will ask Commissioner Stevens to read the proclamation. And then if we have discussion, and then we'll vote on the proclamation. And then I guess we'll take pictures. Good morning, Karen.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Wong Brown. I'd like to thank the commissioners and the staff for acknowledging May as the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. As a first-generation Chinese immigrant, I thank all of the people who came before me, my ancestors, my Asian communities, and my family who gave me the solid foundation of my culture. I also want everyone else to not just celebrate a day or a month with us, but acknowledge us as individuals. We want to be seen and heard, not just when things are bad. We are not a model minority, but just like you. We are humans that make us part of the American melting pot. And thank you for this proclamation.
Thanks, Karen. Would you like to say something, sir?
No, I just came up to support.
Karen is your spokesperson.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well said. Commissioner Stevens, would you be kind enough to read the proclamation?
I will. I wanted to get clarification
Oh.
before I read it that how the acronym is pronounced. Is it APIDA? Does it?
They just recently changed it to, I don't know, they added Native Hawaiian in there
Okay.
this year, but I don't know where it goes.
Okay. So it says APIDA, and that's how I'm going to pronounce that. That stands for Asian Pacific Islander Desi American. So, okay. All right. I'm happy to read the proclamation and make the motion.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is a proclamation for Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Heritage Month. Whereas recognition of Asian Pacific Islander Desi American APIDA Heritage Month began in 1977 to support the history and accomplishments of APIDA people in the U.S. The APIDA population consists of the entire Asian continent, including South Asia as the Desi population, and the Pacific Islands. And whereas the month of May was selected to honor a Japanese immigrant as an initial U.S. citizen on May 7, 1843, and to recognize the anniversary of the finale of the original Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869, primarily built by Chinese immigrants. And whereas the U.S. Census Bureau approximates the APIDA population in the United States to be greater than 20 million people at 6.2% of the population. Locally, the APIDA population in Larimer County constitutes more than 7,800 or 2.21% of the total population. And whereas the APIDA community has a long history of active participation in Larimer County, including as our teachers, doctors, business owners, restaurant workers, artists, colleagues, families, and friends, thus enormously contributing to the health, growth, and well-being of our community. And whereas in recognition of APIDA Heritage Month, the Larimer County is planning a festive, family-friendly celebration to honor the cultural and visionary influences of APIDA with music, dancing, crafts, and foods at the Loveland Public Library on May 18th. And whereas unequal structural and systemic discrimination still exists against APIDA people, including violent riots against South and East Asians in 1907, Japanese internment camps during World War II, including Camp Amache in Colorado with over 7,000 detainees, Desi Americans experiencing more government inspections and monitoring when boarding planes or applying for immigration as of 2001, the persecution of South Asian Americans post 9/11, an increase in hate crimes against APIDA people since the COVID pandemic. And whereas the APIDA community has risen above cultural obstacles, language barriers, discrimination, and violence, these Americans still experience intensified fear and deprivation. Thus, we ask Larimer County citizens to rebuke hate based on race, religion, or ethnicity and honor the hard work, perseverance, and dynamic culture of the APIDA community. We recognize the significance of inclusion and strive to create an amicable and safe climate for all Larimer County residents. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County that the month of May 2024 be recognized as Asian American Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month in Larimer County, and Larimer County welcomes community members to participate in the schedule of activities to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of APIDA people to our lives throughout our country, state, and nation.
Thanks, Commissioner. Would you offer the motion and then we can have discussion before we vote?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the proclamation recognizing May 2024 as Asian Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month.
Excellent, thanks. Colleagues, this is an opportunity to say a few words. Commissioner Shaddock McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Carrie, for being here today. It's so nice to see you, and I appreciate you being here to receive this proclamation. When I reflect back to when we first did this, it was a couple of years ago when Heart and Soul brought this proclamation and started having these events. And I know we're proud to support the events. I've attended them every year. They're quite diverse, and a lot of performers come from around the state. So it is really a unique and very special community. And we've gotten to meet some new community members that way when I go, because they haven't really felt
I think one of them said they felt like finally they have found their community and they felt safe coming out. And I was thinking about that, and then also reflecting back on last year when we add the Hawaiian, and I'm not sure how they say it, if it's Native Hawaiian, to the fires in Maui and how devastating that was, and the continued struggle on some of the Native Islanders because of the lack of housing, because that haven't been rebuilt, and how that county and that state government is actually looking to convert like 7,000, there's 26,000 short-term rentals on that island, to 7,000 of them to long-term housing for these residents have been displaced. And think about some of the other events that have targeted or been unfortunate for these communities to feel like they're still trying to recover and raise their voices, but talk about resiliency and perseverance and grit and celebrating the great culture and contributions to our community. And I think you're right, Carrie. You said that you've been around. It's all this melting pot. It's all of our community and such a rich and beautiful tapestry. And it's so nice to be able to celebrate with everyone all these great historical things. And as we celebrate this and honor and recognize and elevate the contributions of all of the members of that community to our great local communities, our nonprofits, our county, our state, and our country. We also need to recognize some of the struggles some of these communities, not even our own community, but other communities that maybe are impacting folks here, and how we can help them feel that they're not forgotten with these devastating events, because I know we're still recovering from our big fire. And so I was just thinking about them the other day and listening to some podcasts about how a lot of those folks are not housed after that tremendous fire. So I just think it's really important for us to think about the current history and the past histories, but also recognize the progress and the individuals that have contributed to our great nation and contribute to helping us all become a more perfect union and more perfect, inclusive, diverse, a sense of belonging in all of our communities, and we need to strive to do that every day. So I'm glad that we have this proclamation today. So glad you're both here to help us celebrate. And I think the proclamation and the inclusive title and name and adding another letter into it is really important, especially since last year in the event. So thank you, and I plan to attend and try to attend as many opportunities to celebrate. Last year I did some painting of the koi fish at the event that hangs in my refrigerator or my bathroom, and so it's just really nice to recognize some of those activities that seem small, but they're actually representative of a very important and rich culture that exists so vibrantly in our community. So thank you for being here.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, Karen, thank you for being here today to accept this proclamation. I really appreciate it. For folks who don't know, Karen is she's a valued community member and a longtime volunteer. Karen is at many, many events throughout the community, and she's always helping and applying to boards and serving on boards. And so, Karen, just really appreciate all the work that you've done to make our community a better place. So it's really wonderful to have you be one of the people here that's accepting the awards. So, this is a great month to celebrate, and I felt like the proclamation was good, and it did talk a lot about the discrimination of the past and present that has been experienced. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that, because we reject, that hatred and that discrimination in our community, and we are all working to try to make that better. And I think that's why this board created the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Board, because we want to make a statement that is something that we reject, but we also want to celebrate, because this is 6.2% of our population and a little over 2% of our local population is Asian Pacific Islander or Desi American. And so doing great things in our community, as you are, Karen, although you're a hard act to follow. I'm not sure everybody is doing quite as much as you are, but nonetheless, we want to just celebrate all the wonderful things that people do in our community and to let people know that they're welcome. And so I think that I'm glad that you're the face of that today. And as having kids that are of Desi American heritage, and so for those folks who don't know that, that's this Indian subcontinent. So think India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, and so Desi is kind of that name that sort of encompasses that group. And having been able to celebrate in some of those celebrations, I know how special those are. And so we celebrate all Asian Pacific Islander and Desi Americans today in our community and throughout the country. We're grateful for your service and the work that you do and how you bring your rich culture to for all of us to celebrate. And thank you again, Karen, for being here.
Thank you.
Just to echo what my colleagues have said, certainly, Karen, I've known you for a number of years and very grateful for all the good community work that you do, and grateful for this person who's there to support you. A couple of things to add. I'm glad, for example, that there's a reference to Camp Amache here in Colorado as one of the Japanese internment camps, and I believe somewhat recently we established that as a national monument. If I'm correct, then I think that's a good recognition, and hopefully it'll be taken care of. Secondly, I'm reminded it was a couple of months ago there was an exhibition at the Loveland Public Library. I think it was Ansel Adams, who is a famous photographer, and there was an exhibit of photographs that he took visiting some of the Japanese internment camps in California. Very compelling. It was really interesting to see those photos. And then finally, the work. I think we've made progress, but sometimes it feels like you take two steps forward and one step back. And I think I was listening on the radio this morning, actually, caught parts of it, but there was some entity that was trying to compile all the information about people that were interned during World War II to make sure that the information about them was correct, because it turns out that quite a large percentage of the people that were identified as having been interned, their names were wrong, misspelled, or the dates that they were in this country, and all of that. So I'm glad that there's an effort to correct the historical record, and I believe there has been a public acknowledgement, apology by, our government, the federal government, and I believe reparations have been paid to some of those families. But we want to make sure we get all that information correct. So thank you very much. There is a motion on the table regarding the approval of this proclamation. Any further discussion, colleagues? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0 passes. I guess we will, if you folks are okay with this, we'll pause for 2 minutes and we'll take a picture. Thanks. Thank you all very much. Thanks, Karen. All right, we have returned after taking a picture or two, approving the proclamation for May 2024 as Asian Pacific Islander Desi Heritage Month. Our next proclamation is regarding May as Older Americans Month. And let's see, is there someone, Erin? Welcome. If you would be kind enough to introduce yourself and tell us about this proclamation, then we'll have Commissioner Shattuck McNally read it.
Great, and thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Erin Alt, and I am the Program Manager for the Larimer County Office on Aging. I am joined this morning by the Human Services Director, Heather O'Hare, the Aging and Adult Services Division Deputy Division Manager, Katie Stieber, and Nicole Limoges, our Program Coordinator. As we come together to commemorate May as Older Americans Month, we are reminded of the profound impact that connections have on our lives, especially with our aging generations. This year's theme, Powered by Connection, highlights the importance of fostering relationships, building communities, and nurturing intergenerational ties that enrich the lives of older Americans. It is truly a time of reflection and appreciation for the wisdom, experiences, and contributions of these older adults. As part of the celebration of this year's Older Americans Month, the Office on Aging, along with our Advisory Council, family, and our honorable commissioners, presented awards to showcase this year's Outstanding Family Caregiver and Outstanding Senior Volunteer Awards. It was a true time of celebration as we heard the stories of these amazing older adults here in Larimer County. It gave us an opportunity to recognize the invaluable role that older adults play in shaping our families, our communities, and society as a whole. Our older population is a treasure trove of knowledge, resilience, and stories that deserve to be cherished and shared. Their hard work, sacrifices, and dedication have paved the way for progress and prosperity that we enjoy today. It is important to remember that aging is not just about growing older, but also growing wise and continuing to make meaningful impacts in our communities. In a world that is increasingly connected through technology and social networks, it is crucial to recognize the power of genuine human connections. As we honor Older American Month this year, let us reflect on the strength and resilience that come from forging meaningful connections. Let us take time to reach out to older adults in our lives, engage in conversations, and listen to their stories with empathy and respect. Let us bridge the generation gap through shared experiences, shared knowledge, and shared moments of joy and laughter as we embrace their presence in our lives. Let's create inclusive communities where older adults feel valued, supported, and empowered to live their best and fullest lives. As we recognize Older Americans Month, let's recommit ourselves to promoting active aging, advocating for elder rights, and fostering intergenerational connections that break age barriers. Let's build a society that honors the past, cherishes the present, and looks forward to a future where age is just a number and every individual is seen, heard, and valued for their unique contributions, regardless of age or background. Together, let's harness the power of connection to strengthen our communities and create a future where age is celebrated as a source of wisdom and inspiration. Thank you to all the older Americans who continue to inspire us with their resilience, their stories, and their unwavering spirit. May this month be a celebration of the transformative power of connections that bind us together in a tapestry of diversity and respect. And as always, Commissioner Kafalis, Stevens, and Shattuck McNally, we appreciate your time, your proclamation, and your commitment to the older adults of Larimer County.
Thank you, Erin. Well said. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you be kind enough to read the proclamation and then offer the motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd be very honored to read the Older Americans Month 2024 proclamation. whereas May is Older Americans Month, a time for us to recognize and honor Larimer County older adults and their immense influence on every facet of American society. And whereas their wealth of life experience and wisdom, older adults guide our younger generations and carry forward abundant cultural and historic knowledge. And whereas older Americans improve our communities through intergenerational relationships, community service, civic engagement, and many other activities. And whereas communities benefit when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. And whereas Larimer County must ensure that older Americans have the resources and support needed to stay involved in their communities, reflecting our commitment to inclusivity and connectedness. And now, therefore, we of Larimer County do hereby proclaim May 2024 as Older Americans Month. This year's theme, Powered by Connection, emphasizes the profound impact of meaningful interactions and social connection on the well-being and health of older adults in our community. And we call upon all residents to join us in recognizing the contributions of older citizens and promoting programs and activities that foster connection, inclusion, and support for older adults. Dated this 7th day of May, 2024.
Thanks, Commissioner. Can you do?
Motion?
I think so, yeah.
The motion, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the proclamation recognizing May as Older Americans Month.
Thanks. Good opportunity for a few comments. Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah, thank you. This is a great month to acknowledge. I think that sometimes older Americans feel in our communities feel unnoticed and unseen, and so I think this is really great to remind us the value that they bring to our lives. Many of us have older Americans, family members in our lives, and we know that the richness that they bring is invaluable. So I'm glad to acknowledge this, and I think as we move forward with our strategic plan, and we've really identified social isolation. I have trouble saying that; it's too many S's. But social isolation as one of a problem in our community that people have identified. I think that affects older Americans even more than others, just because of for health reasons or transportation or whatever it might be, that people are unable to get out and be in community sometimes. And so I think recognizing that and then figuring out ways to make sure that we bring people in instead of keeping people out is really important. So thank you for bringing this forward. Really, really happy to honor older Americans in our community, and a commitment from this board to work harder and to try to make sure that people don't feel isolated in our community. So thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I have to say, as a previous member of the Office on Aging Advisory Council and a caregiver myself I counted the other day, it's like 2 decades between my grandparents and my parents. And I'm currently struggling with some caregiver issues for older adults in my family, my mother and my mother-in-law. So it's really important. This is a very important proclamation to me. I want to first thank and commend the Office on Aging and the Office on Aging Advisory Council for the tremendous job that they did on the fair. It was well attended, and I thought back to when I was on council. One of the first things I helped when we volunteered to set up was the Fraud Sam's Forum, and it was very well received then with Barb. Thank you, Barb, for all your work and dedication in that space. And if you haven't signed up for her email, I would say you should. But it's such an important information for everyone, not only our older adults, but it was glad to see her again. It was great to see all the resources and all the community members and organizations that support our older adults and caregivers. And it was just really a tremendous event. And I have to just share a personal story with the gentleman who's won the Caregiver of the Year award. And now his name is it's Mr. Branch. Is that correct? I think,
Yes.
Yes, cool. Great, my brain's working today. When we got ready to go, I sat next to his family, and really wasn't paying attention to who I was sitting next to. I just noticed they were his family members. And they approached me and said, you're Jody Shattuck. I thought, okay, here's someone who knows me before I was married. But these were older adults from my growing up in Longmont, from my church community and my Sunday school, former Sunday school teachers and mentors. And I thought, wow, what a great circle of life that these folks were, part of my growing up and still were, involved in the community and supporting their family member who won this award. And we were talking about the things that they still do in the community. And it was such a treat to connect with them and talk about our families and my former connections. And I thought, boy, I miss some of those older connections, because those individuals used to take the youth out and really promote that intergenerational connection and trying to promote those connectedness. And so I'm hoping we can continue as our strategic plan talking about social connectedness and connectivity and belonging. I feel like we have a lot to do because the pandemic kind of isolated us in ways we had to do, but we know we have a lot to do. And I know the intergenerational thing is something my daughter and I have been trying to do for many years. We know loneliness and isolation can lead to higher blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, anxiety, depression, memory losses, and even lean towards death, because if folks are isolated for too long, it really has a severe impact on folks' mental and physical health. And I think was trying to look it up. I think loneliness is equated to like smoking several packs of cigarettes a day. So it's something that we need to do. Talk to your neighbors that are older. Ask them if you can talk to them about their plants, or talk to your older adults in your community when you get together for family events. Drop your phones, drop your devices, go and talk to them about the things in their lives, and just make sure they feel valued. There's so many things that we should give our older adults the respect and dignity that they deserve in this community and in this proclamation, is because they have made our lives possible. They helped build this great nation, and we stand on the shoulders of all they accomplished. And hopefully we're doing a good job of carrying the torches towards this more perfect union, as I mentioned before. And, the longer that I live, which I'm hoping I get to live a long life, and the more experiences I have, the more beautiful life becomes. And for those folks in our communities, they're older adults, they have a lot of beauty in their lives to share. So I think it would be great if we could help them realize that growing old is such a triumph and so much beauty in it, and how we can connect to them and have those conversations. And so this is, and a lot of older adults still contribute to our great communities and nation, because they give tremendously and generously of their time and expertise in so many ways. I'm sure we can't even measure it. So glad for this proclamation, and grateful to have this opportunity to read it and to celebrate with you all. And again, a job well done last week. Thank you.
So, exclamation points on the comments made. As an older American, I can certainly resonate with this particular proclamation. So thank you for thinking of folks like me. I agree that as one gets older, especially if one has had the privilege and blessing and opportunity to do their best to lead a meaningful life, aging is a beautiful thing. Although, as I still run races, somehow they don't seem to get easier as I get older, and I can't quite figure that out. So I just want to acknowledge our Office on Aging, our Aging and Adult Services within our Larimer County Department of Human Services. I guess the two most important takeaways from the proclamation in our conversation are, one is the importance of trying to support one another, and indeed as one gets older and one desires to live with dignity in their, where they, in the community, not elsewhere, I think connecting with folks is really important, and trying to overcome the social isolation and the loneliness that a lot of folks experience. So I think that's really critical for us to keep in mind, and certainly what our part to help support and honor and be friends with older Americans, and give them a kind word now and then when you see them, especially a commissioner who happens to be an older American. So I think I've said enough. Let's see, Lorenda, why don't you add a little bit of wisdom here, please?
I guess I'll be very brief. I love the theme powered by connection. As we age in different ways. I had the very big pleasure of living with my great-grandmother and my parents until I was 16. She lived with us, and her wisdom, her stories were incredible. She had connection because she lived in our home, but not everyone ages in a home. They age in different ways, in apartments, in congregate living, and in other ways. So I love the idea of powered by connection as the theme. I think you all do great work in that area. You do it every day. You connect people to the community and the community to older adults. And so thank you for your work and for the chance to honor you and your work and older Americans.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lorenda. Thank you, colleagues. So we have a motion on the table to recognize this month as Older Americans Month. I don't believe there's further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. It's picture time. Let's recess for a couple of minutes and we'll take a picture. And then we have our next proclamation. All the different aspects of our community. Thank you all. Thank you for all the good works that are being done. We'll move on to our next proclamation regarding a recognition of Child Care Provider Appreciation Day, which is on May 10th. Let's see. Lorenda, would you like to say a few words, and then we'll ask our Human Services Director to come on up and say a few additional words.
I will. It's a pleasure to be able to honor child care providers. May 10th is the designated day, Child Care Provider Appreciation Day. These providers make it possible for parents to go and participate in the workforce to provide for their families. They are unsung heroes in our community, and it really is our pleasure to recognize them today. It's a small thing to give them a day when we know we count on them day after day after day to be able to make people's lives better. So Heather, I know you've spent a lot of time in this area, and I think you have a few things to say.
Thank you, Lorenda. You know hello there. I think
Good
you know
morning.
a thing or two about childcare.
Good morning, Heather O'Hare, Human Services Director. So I approach childcare first from my professional lens, but also as a parent. So from the perspective of parents, these individuals at both in-home childcare facilities, school-based childcare facilities, across the board, the entire continuum, parents couldn't do what they need to do day to day without these individuals. And the stress that parents have when they don't have a safe place or when they're worried about where their child is for the day absolutely depletes employers, the local economy, just the overall community. So the child care providers become part of our families and really do help shape the next generation. Just recognizing older adults, the next generation, and the care and the shaping that they receive from our childcare providers is so crucial. And so just happy to recognize childcare providers, whether it's our neighbors that are providing exempt care all the way up to our facility providers and getting ready for kids to enter school, just really crucial to what they provide to our community.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Commissioner Stevens, would you please read the proclamation and offer the motion, and if you want to hang out or...
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this is a proclamation for Child Care Provider Appreciation Day. It's just one day, geez.
It should be an entire year.
I was going to
but-
say, here we celebrate them all year long. So, whereas Child Care Provider Appreciation Day provides an opportunity to recognize, honor, and celebrate the child care providers in our community. Whereas organizations nationwide are recognizing child care providers on this day, and whereas child care has provided a safe, nurturing place for the enrichment and development of millions of children nationwide and is a vital force in our economy, and whereas child care programs, which are mostly small businesses, run and staffed predominantly by women, continue to recover from the health and financial hardships stemming from the pandemic to meet the needs of more families. And whereas Larimer County recognizes that child care has been and continues to be a lifeline for families, communities, and the economy. And whereas we know our future depends on the quality of early childhood experiences provided to young children today, high-quality early child care services represent an invaluable commitment to our children's future. And whereas quality child care providers create safe, healthy learning environments, are knowledgeable about the developmental stages of children and support them as they learn and grow. And whereas we recognize that nurturing, responsive, and culturally appropriate early child care and education provides a solid foundation for our children's ongoing success and impacts a wide variety of outcomes, including educational attainment and long-term health, wellness, and stability. And whereas we all have a responsibility as individuals, families, neighbors, and community members of Larimer County to recognize child care providers for their dedication to providing quality care and for the important role they play in our children's future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Larimer, do hereby proclaim May 10th, 2024 as Child Care Provider Appreciation Day. In Larimer County, we urge all community members to recognize child care providers for their important work and invaluable contributions made to our community. And the motion is, I move to approve the proclamation recognizing May 10th, 2024 as Child Care Provider Appreciation Day.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you like to begin offering a few comments?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Heather, for stepping up and kind of helping us talk about this today. It is interesting, it is only a day, but it's something that we've been talking about almost daily, weekly for many years since I've been in as a commissioner, but even with my work as a volunteer in the school district on district accountability committees and the superintendent's advisory committee and all that, and being a young mom working and trying to finish grad school and trying to find quality care, it was so hard. And my husband and I would literally pass the baby off on campus in the library because we couldn't find sometimes the kind of help that we could during the day with the hours we needed, with the kind of the unusual jobs and careers we had. And so it even then it was a challenge. It's always been a challenge. And it's all I can say is thank goodness and heartfelt gratitude to you and others and all the organizations, Early Childhood Council, and all those individuals and child care providers. Because there's someone in our communities that have been doing this for a long time. I think about some of the cooperative preschools and centers I've been involved with my lifetime. They get it. They're dedicated their lives to this important part of our community and ensuring youth, our earliest and most vulnerable folks sometimes there's our young folks, and supporting those families. And it's something we continue to try to solve with all the gaps and needs. And we need more child caregivers. We need more high quality child care. And it's something we continue to try to solve and work on. It's a lot in our communities that need solving, but this one is one of the more upstream, more foundational ones that we need to really address and keep in front of everyone, because as we stated in this proclamation and others, it's foundational for these youth and their families for the rest of their lives. And that birth, or I think it's 5 to thrive or 0 to 5, that critical time in a child's development age where there's like 3 billion connections in the brain happening and things like that. It's just can't be emphasized enough how important those years are and how we need families in the workforce. And if they, as you say, they're worried about where they're placing their children and are they safe, it's just so important we do what we can to support that industry in our communities and those people who are really, even after all these years, still working and dedicated and fighting for quality, high quality childcare for everyone. And one statement that resonated with me was that we, in the proclamation, was we're recognizing that nurturing, responsive, culturally appropriate early child care and education provides a solid foundation for our children's ongoing success. And all the wide variety of outcomes, including educational attainment, long-term health, wellness, and stability. And I want to add behavioral health because that's all threaded in there as well. Because our youth are not okay right now. We need to understand we have to really invest in this to help them have that resiliency and grit, perseverance going forward. So the culturally responsive, I think, is also important. We have a lot of organizations in our communities that really focus on that and fight for that. I think that's also something I wanted to kind of spell out because we want to honor families' cultures and their experiences and lived experiences. So this is really important. I wish it was a whole month, but I think it's important that we take every opportunity we can to thank those folks because their work is largely unrecognized. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Heather, and thanks for the folks that brought this forward. I literally would not be in this seat without childcare providers. Could not have had a career, felt safe to leave my kids in warm hands. It was so important to my career and my children's well-being to have good, affordable, high-quality childcare, and I am so grateful for the people that provided that for my children. I know that I'm glad that the proclamation mentions the fact that the pandemic kind of was a hard on childcare. Millions of women had to leave the workforce to take care of their children and to be home with children who were online learning. It affects families, but it affects women a lot. And so, like I said, I'm really grateful for the people that provided that and for my family. It's interesting that our next proclamation is for Economic Development Week because I think for so many years, childcare was sort of seen as sort of a women's issue or a family issue or something that you just had to figure out. Just figure it out, and it is an economic issue. We need women in the workforce. We need child care providers that are paid well and that are valued. And so we really need to have those conversations hand in hand. They go together. And so thank you for bringing this forward. We are continuing to look at how to provide funding for childcare in our community to make sure we have more affordable childcare in our community, more affordable, high-quality childcare in our community, and that we're paying people what they need to pay. And I, for one, don't see a way to do this without dedicated funding, so I am hoping we find a solution to that problem, because we know right now we have a freeze on CCAP dollars. We are hoping that I don't think there's going to be a ton of relief from the state legislature in that regard, and so we continue to figure out how to fund this. Meanwhile, it very much is an economic development issue. And just really wanted to mention that Commissioner Shattuck McNally and I were at the Family Center's open house a couple weeks ago, and really, when we're talking about culturally appropriate childcare, they're a great model for us. They're one of two childcare providers in town that have sliding scale for infants, and we're grateful for what they do. Also want to mention Teaching Tree, who does a really great job. All childcare providers in our community do a great job, but those are two nonprofits that we really rely on to provide affordable childcare in our community. So thank you to everyone who does this work. It's important, it should be valued, and we are working on ways to do that. Thank you.
When you go last, a lot of the things have already been said, which is okay. Just a couple of shout outs that maybe weren't mentioned. There are the various providers, for-profit, not-for-profit centers, but I think it's important to acknowledge the informal network that's out there, friends, families, and neighbors. I think, for example, my spouse would be included as a child care provider, since she's, we're lucky that she's retired and she's been able to care for our 6-year-old going on 7-year-old granddaughter. So I think there's a whole network of folks, and certainly the groups like the Early Childhood Council of Larimer County, ECCLC, are really critical in terms of their evolving responsibilities and how they help people to. And maybe this is something you could speak to, Heather. There's a website that folks can go to find safe, quality, affordable childcare. Housing, childcare, engaging meaningfully in the workforce. There are some common threads here, a lot of nexus. So I wanted to do those shout outs. Certainly my spouse, and I'm glad that I get to see our granddaughter when I can. I think that's all I'll say. There is a motion on the. Oh, would you want to say something about that website before we?
There's two websites I would focus on.
Please.
So the first one is the Early Childhood Councils. So it's ecclc.org, and they have the Larimer County Child Care Fund. You can link to it there, but they have all of their resources also for providers. If you need help trying to navigate the licensing, it's a very complex process. So they have a whole host of resources. And then the other website is Larimer County Thrive by 5, and that is the site that is really working on this broader strategic issue of how do we fund childcare. I know for myself, I spent more in preschool for my 5-year-old than I did for my 18-year-old's first year of college. So trying to offset that business impact for the providers, but also for families. So there is a lot of work happening strategically at the local level. And that one is thriveby5.org.
Thank you. There is a proclamation on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. We're on a bit of a roll. We'll pause again for pictures. We have 2 more proclamations, and appreciate the patience of our foster care folks. We will certainly, last but not least by any means. Thank you.
Mark.
Okay, we're back. We have our fourth proclamation regarding Economic Development Week, and we have a few folks from our Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development Department doing good work, making sure that folks can engage meaningfully in the workforce and figure out barriers like the cost of housing, cost of childcare, the cost of transportation. It's a piece of cake to engage meaningfully in the workforce. Hello there, sir.
Way to put me on the spot. So thank you. Evan Wentland, Associate Director of Economic Development here at Larimer County. And I want to thank you for the time and the ability to bring awareness to the work that we do as part of the Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development Department. We hope this work positively impacts many of the other county departments as well as community organizations. As Commissioner Stevens had highlighted earlier, economic development takes on many facets. It's not just business assistance, it's community assistance, it's community partnerships, it's hopefully also representing community member needs. Through the support of county leadership, we are able to align our work better with our cities, our community organizations, to best serve businesses and community members who call Larimer County home. We could not do this work without your support, so having the board continue to spread awareness of the economic development work we do, we are able to create a region where all can prosper economically, and we can continue to be a strong economic driver within the state of Colorado. Through our work, we are able to help remove barriers, to assist business growth, to help with the employment of Larimer County residents, and hopefully impact all those that live here. So thank you.
Thank you, Evan. At this time, we'll read the proclamation, Economic Development Week. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Make sure you can hear me. Is that okay? Okay. Reading the proclamation for Economic Development Week, May 6th through the 10th, 2024. Whereas economic development is a process that is strengthened by the critical partnership between economic professionals and local government leadership to promote a shared vision for developing resilient communities. Whereas Larimer County is a place where economic partners such as the City of Fort Collins, City of Loveland, Town of Estes Park, Town of Wellington, Town of LaPorte, Town of Berthoud, Town of Windsor, Town of Red Feather Lakes, Northern Colorado Regional Economic Development Initiative, Larimer County Small Business Development Center, local chambers of commerce, NOCO, REDI, ready, and Larimer County, and many others work together to ensure our collective economic health efforts provide a supportive environment that helps companies thrive and bring visitors to enjoy our beautiful community. And whereas these partners cultivate and nurture business and entrepreneurship that helps to secure the next generation of new businesses, working in partnership with industries, brokers, educators, and key allies to foster an effective business climate and meet the increasingly critical need for a skilled and competitive workforce. And whereas economic partners also promote economic well-being, resilience, and quality of life for their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic development enhances equity by using economic tools and development of programs and policies that include the interest of the entire community to help build an inclusive economy. Whereas the International Economic Development Council and the Economic Development Council of Colorado provides leadership and excellence in economic development for communities, members, and partners through conferences, training courses, advisory services, research, in-depth publications, public policy, advocacy, and other initiatives. And now, therefore, we, the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County, do hereby proclaim the week of May 6th through May 10th, 2024, as Economic Development Week and call this observance to the attention of our community members. Dated this 7th day of May, 2024. And Mr. Chair, I will now move that I move to approve the proclamation recognizing May 6th through May 10th, 2024 as Economic Development Week.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, what do you have to say about this?
Sure. Just thank you for bringing this forward. Really important in our community to have a healthy economy. We've been really blessed in Larimer County to have always had a fairly healthy economy, but that's because we have people working on it, Mark and Evan and others who are really making sure that companies stay in our community, that we attract good employers that pay good wages, and that we continue to help people be part of the workforce. And a piece that's really important to me is that there are people in our community that are haven't had an opportunity to create wealth in their families and so when we talk about enhancing wealth in this proclamation, I mean, that resonates with me because I feel like there have been structural and systemic reasons that certain people in our community have not been able to create wealth or have a career. And so I thank you for kind of pushing past those barriers and helping all people in our community find employment, bringing those companies to our community, and really making sure that our economy is vibrant and that we can do the things, because I mean that provides our tax base, and it provides so many amenities beyond a job in our community. It really enhances our communities. So thank you for the work, and thanks for bringing the proclamation forward.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Evan, Mark, and the Economic Workforce Development team for being here and bringing this forward. It was really fun to attend the graduation of the at Rialto for all of those individuals who were graduating with their GEDs, and to celebrate the tutors who were helping them, and how important that is for all of those individuals. For that second chance to show their grit and perseverance to graduate with those GEDs, because they are on now a better path for economic stability, but they also are giving back to our communities in so many ways. And I thought you guys did a wonderful, wonderful job. I think the work that you do is not only investing in our community, but in investing in human beings and human communities, because really the vibrancy of our community is about all these individuals who are humans, who are trying to have a really productive and quality of life, and trying to invest in them is through their education, no matter what the level, is an investment in economic development. It's just basically kind of that bedrock. It's kind of so integrated with education, the foundation of our democracy, I believe, and then helping small businesses and communities with that workforce to thrive. And small businesses are kind of the backbone of Larimer County, and it builds on each other. It's so important. And I think a lot of the work that you all do is not always recognized and understood, how complex but how important it is for kind of bringing that collaboration and partnership together for the betterment of our whole community, because we do need folks to have really, this is the way out of poverty, basically. It's economic development, and to have those important jobs and investing in humans is how we get there. And so I think this is a really again, we've had some really important proclamations today, and how they all intersect, because workforce and economic development is not only for our youth, but also for older adults who still want to be very invested and contributing members of our community, and also may need that little extra income. So I think it spans the whole lifespan of our communities to have this important work that you do, and just appreciate the innovative and forward-thinking and I think some of the best in the state economic partnerships and development programs in the state. And I just want to say, I appreciate you bringing this forward, and just well done with all the things you do. And I think it is important for our well-being and quality of life and our resiliency, is what the things that you do that sometimes our community does not always see and recognize. So I'm glad to read this proclamation and to highlight this for this week. And thank you all for the work you do. And thank you to all the partners that are listed, because we can't do this without every single one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. just a couple of things, maybe some additional takeaways. One is that we often talk about the county being a, quote, convener, and this notion of regionalism. And I think this is an example where we can work well with our Weld County neighbors, for example. The NOCO Ready Regional Economic Development Initiative is one example. Aspects of that include the work around identifying key job sectors or industry sectors where there's a great demand, certainly skilled nursing, for example, different kinds of nurse practitioners, the talent pipeline work that's being done. So, I mean, I think those are all amazing examples. So I wanted to highlight that. I also wanted to highlight that there's a big emphasis within our team here to look at how do we support people to get into jobs so they can get a greater level of financial security, move beyond paycheck to paycheck. The cost of living here is not easy, and it's not easy to find a job that pays you enough to get above paycheck to paycheck. But I think we work really hard to try to accomplish that as best as we can. I also appreciate that there is an emphasis on reaching out to all different sectors of our community as far as helping people find jobs, helping small businesses. In particular, I'm grateful for the work that we're doing to help people with disabilities find employment. And then I'll end with sharing a quick story, very quick, which I think speaks volumes about what you guys care about, what you're doing. And a friend of mine who is a small business owner, owns a restaurant, has been struggling in a lot of ways, wanted to meet with me. We met. I tried to provide some resources based on what I know. I said, well, let's go up to the fifth floor and see if anybody's available. And you just dropped everything. And I thought, well, maybe you would schedule a little meeting with this person. But we spent the next 15 minutes or so in a very genuine way to try to provide support and resources to help this particular business owner. So I want to give you, Evan, a shout out. Encourage your bosses to give you a raise when we can. Um, and I guess that's all I got to say. Yes. So, thanks.
Thank you. And again, that follow-up with the business couldn't have been done without the team that is part of the economic and workforce, as well as our community members here in Fort Collins that also stepped in to assist with that business's needs. And that's, I think, that key partnership aspect.
And one final point, if I may, and that is you're reminding me that we couldn't do this work alone. So, for example, we have the Workforce Development Board, and it's primarily or entirely volunteers from different sectors of the community, and they help us to help to inform our decisions, our policy making, help provide guidance. So I think a shout out to the Workforce Development Board. Okay, I've talked enough. I think now we have a motion on the table. No further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. It's picture time again. And then finally, you folks. Okay, we're back. We have another important proclamation acknowledging May as National Foster Care Appreciation Month. And I think I'll invite Angela, if you would come on up and bring your friends and your guests, if they'd like, and tell us a little bit about what we're celebrating and honoring. And I imagine you know the routine.
Yes, I do. Good morning. I'm Angela Mee, Deputy Division Manager with the Larimer County Department of Human Services, Child, Youth, and Family Services Division. I'm joined here today with the Director of the Department of Human Services, Heather O'Hare, Hannah LaPointe, who's our foster care supervisor, Allison Walter, who's the supervisor of our kinship unit, a whole number of our foster care staff, and representatives from the FAFLACT organization, which I'm going to tell you about in a few minutes. And I'm very honored to be co-presenting with Mr. and Mrs. Bodden Distel, who were recognized as Foster Parents of the Year. So I'm here today to present the 2024 Proclamation for Foster Care Appreciation Month. Every year during the month of May, our nation and state recognizes the importance of foster care for abused and neglected children and professes our profound appreciation for all individuals who dedicate their lives to fostering children. Foster care is part of a state and county child welfare system. It's designed to protect and care for abused and neglected children. In calendar year 2023, the state of Colorado had 3,346 children being cared for by foster families. In Larimer County, we have 237 children placed in foster care families, either certified through our county or child placement agencies. It is estimated that in 2023, there were 391,000 children living in foster care nationally. Foster care provides a traumatized child with a safe and loving family environment where they can live temporarily while their parents resolve the struggles that they are having in getting their life back on track. Foster parents play an essential role in supporting birth parents in their journey towards reunification when children are removed from their home. Foster parenting comes with many rewards and challenges. We want to recognize the efforts of foster families for not only caring for their own children, but also caring for children with special needs who suffer from trauma. Sometimes when a foster parent receives a call to care for a child, it's not just one, but it can be several children at a time. We appreciate it when they are willing to take care of sibling groups. Foster parents are good at navigating very complex child welfare and judicial systems, along with partnering up with many community partners and family members who are serving children. It is hard to imagine what a daily schedule is like for a foster parent, given the countless appointments and family time schedules they must manage while getting through a basic day of caring for children. With the federal efforts to reduce the number of children and youth lingering in congregate care, more children with significant mental and behavioral health challenges are entering the family foster care system. This can create several challenges for foster parents that require additional resources and support to help them be successful in managing care and preventing unnecessary disruption in placement. We are very fortunate in Larimer County to have many dedicated foster parents who provide the necessary care to prevent congregate care. We want to encourage citizens of Larimer County who want to foster children to please connect with our website to learn about fostering opportunities in Larimer County. And they can find our website through www.larimer.gov. Currently, we have a need for families who will take school-aged children, adolescents, and youth with developmental or learning disabilities, and who identify as LGBTQ+. We strive as an agency when placing sibling groups to keep them together. We need foster families that can provide loving care for large sibling groups. There are no restrictions on who can foster based on race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation or expression, gender identity, or marital status. A person interested in fostering must be at least 21 years of age or older, pass a background check, complete training, and receive a home study that assesses their ability to demonstrate prudent parenting and provide a safe and stable, loving home environment. So a new part of our celebration during Foster Care Appreciation Month is to recognize a community agency for their extraordinary efforts in serving or supporting foster families. This year, we are recognizing foster and adoptive families of Larimer County, FAFLAC. They were founded in 1978, and they are a 100% volunteer-operated organization whose purpose is to promote and improve the welfare of children, to support foster, kinship, guardianship, and adoptive families in Larimer County. They provide education, training, and support. They strive to improve communication between foster and birth families and promote public relations and advocacy addressing the needs and best interests of children in our community. Since 1985, they have served 3,000 families. Their supportive efforts provide a lifeline for families who may be fostering for the first time or who need a little extra support during their fostering, kinship, or adoptive experience. They currently have between 150 to 175 volunteers. Our department has had the privilege this year of partnering with them to host connection events for foster, kinship, and adoptive families, celebrating we had an event during the Christmas holiday. It was in December 2023. There were over 300 people who attended the event. It was at the ranch. It was a fun celebration, including a delightful holiday meal with all the fixins, face painting for the kids, lots of fun activities, gifts, and even a visit from Santa Claus. Santa Claus was very busy. He didn't even get to eat for 4 hours. I was worried about him. And then we also joined them they invited us to be part of the FAFLAC Easter Bunny egg hunt. And that included a barbecue and the Easter egg hunt and even a visit from the Easter Bunny. So we are very appreciative of them being here today. In the front row behind me, we have representatives, as I mentioned, from their organization. And it's Katie Montoya, Chelsea Hill, Ingrid Olson, Erin Branchflower, and Cindy Buckhart. Also during the month, our department recognizes outstanding foster parents of the year. So we ask our staff to submit nominations. And I would like to introduce to you this year's winners who are co-presenting with me today, Monica and Marvin Bodden-Distel. They were nominated by their caseworker, Mackenzie Butler, and selected to be Foster Parents of the Year. They were officially recognized at the Realities for Children Gala in April, and then they were also recognized at our all-staff celebration event, which you all attended. It was nice to have you there, by the way. So we are so happy that they could be here today. Before they share a few comments with you about fostering, I thought it would be good to share a few things that their caseworker had to say about them and why she nominated them. Monica and Marvin have been fostering with Larimer County since 2010. Since that time, they have provided both respite and long-term placements for many children in their home. They continue to open their home to children even after raising their adult children and adopting 3 children. Monica and Marvin have had numerous challenging placements and have stepped up to serve the children in need of placement. They provided a safe and loving home for over 70 children since they became foster parents in 2010. They help the department keep siblings together whenever possible. They are passionate about helping maintain family contact for the children in their care and work with families towards reunification and placement with families locally through ICPCs, which stands for the Interstate Compact Commission. They're super patient, forgiving, and resilient with the children in their care. They have a specific passion to care for children with autism and those who are deaf or hard of hearing, but overall support our youth with physical and developmental disabilities. They have maintained children in their home that potentially could have faced disruptions in other homes and kept youth out of higher levels of care. They help the department facilitate family time and are huge advocates for the children in their care's needs with education and mental health. Monica and Marvin continue to provide exceptional care for the children we serve. I'm just going to turn it over to them now and let them share a few points with you.
Thanks, Angela. Welcome, folks.
Thank you. We just want to say thank you to everybody that we work with. Um, we have an amazing team to work with. They help us out whenever we need help. Um, we work with a lot of different caseworkers throughout the year, and we couldn't do it without them.
Thank you. Thank you. Monica, would you like to say anything?
I say,
We're honored to be here, and it's been hard at times, but we've always had the support of our team, and we're constantly asked what we need, and they provide everything.
Great. Thank you both. Angela, are any of the other folks who are here going to say a word or two? Or
Would you, representatives of FAFLAG, would you like to share anything?
It looked like
welcome.
everybody. Hi, my name is Katie Montoya. It looks like everybody else stepped back and I was the one left up front. We're honored that the department is taking this time to recognize us, and we value our partnership with them. And we provide lots of services for kids. We want to make sure, you said it earlier in a different, when you were giving out a different proclamation about the feeling of being, what was the word? You said it. But being a part of the community, being a part of their school and a family. And so we try to provide support for all of those things through clothing, new shoes, lots of activities, and we have a food program where we help people out with that as well. And I'm trying to remember all the things we do. Lots of activities throughout the year. School supplies as well. Like Angela said, the Christmas party, Easter egg hunt. We do a corn maze and water world. And a lot of those activities, a large family can't really afford to take on their own. So we provide those at a limited cost, slightly lower cost. So thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I think we'll read the proclamation. I believe it's Commissioner Stevens. And you folks are welcome to hang out there, or if you're more comfortable, sitting down. We'll read the proclamation, say a few words, and then we'll take pictures. And everybody's going to have to be in the picture if I have to be in the picture.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a proclamation for Foster Care Appreciation Month, which is May 2024. Whereas the County of Larimer recognizes that every child deserves a loving, stable, and permanent home, and that there are children in our communities who may not have a safe and stable family and may be experiencing great difficulty and hardship. And whereas Foster Care Appreciation Month provides an opportunity to recognize the dedication, commitment, and compassion of foster parents, social workers, advocates, and volunteers who work tirelessly to support children and families in Larimer County. And whereas foster parents open their hearts and homes to provide love, stability, and care for children in need, allowing them and their families to heal, reconnect, and grow. And whereas social workers and child welfare professionals demonstrate unwavering dedication and compassion in their efforts to ensure the safety, well-being, and permanency of children in foster care. And whereas advocates and volunteers play a vital role in supporting children and families involved in the foster care system, offering invaluable support, guidance, and resources. And whereas in Larimer County, of the 188 children in out-of-home care on a daily average, 168 of those children are in a family setting with either kin or foster parents. And whereas Larimer's more than 76 foster families provide nurturing and supportive homes in which children's emotional, physical, social needs and meaningful connections are provided by a caring adult or family. And whereas dedicated foster families are vital and limited resource to support children and families in need, especially foster parents who match the ethnic, cultural, and identity makeup of children entering care, and who are allies and culturally competent and willing to care for older youth, children with special needs, and sibling groups. And whereas all residents of Larimer County can play a role in helping every child or youth find a loving, permanent home through advocacy and engagement, including answering the call to foster. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Foster Care Appreciation Month in Larimer County. We express our deepest gratitude to all foster parents, social workers, advocates, and volunteers for their extraordinary contributions to the lives of children and families in our community. We encourage all residents to join us in recognizing and honoring foster parents' dedication, compassion, and commitment to making a positive difference in the lives of others, and ask that you support care providers in their efforts to care for children and youth.
Thanks, Commissioner. How about the motion, please?
Yes. I move to approve the proclamation recognizing May 2024 as National Foster Care Appreciation Month.
Great. Commissioner Shaddock McNally, would you like to open up with some comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'm going to just say, Angela, thank you for bringing this forward, and to all of the members of your team and your division. You guys are still all my heroes. Really enjoyed celebrating with you. I'm jealous of your T-shirts. I posted one of those on my Instagram. But with, all kidding aside, powerful statements, powerful group, and the work that you do is just invaluable, and there's not enough words to express my gratitude. To Katie Montoya and your board and your volunteers in that organization, the work that you guys all do and the support you give each other and the families is just immeasurable. And so I hope folks will look. Believe you're a nonprofit. You can go and support them online to help them do these year-long activities. And I appreciate the things you do, especially to make that these foster families can go off and do things together as a large group, because it is very expensive. I've told my kids, my older adults, kids in college, like, hey, I can't always afford you anymore. You're going to have to start paying your way. So it's something to support. To Monica and Marvin, it was such a nice thing to celebrate you. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? It seems like it's gone by so fast. And I'm glad that you're getting all this recognition. To be fostering since 2010 with 70 children, I don't think our community or our county can thank you enough or repay you the debt that you have done for our communities with all the kids that you have supported. It is probably something that is priceless and untold ripples of benefits that we can't even begin to imagine. The contributions to our community that you have with just selfless dedication and tireless commitment, we just can't thank you enough. You are two amazing individuals who deserve to be recognized and honored all the time. Because we still have, even though we have 76 foster families, and I hope I said selfish and not selfish. It's been a long day. I hope I did say selfless, right? I just want to make sure. But with only 76 foster families, there's still a lot of kids who could use some help. And so I really encourage anyone who might be even curious, if you're interested, even curious, contact our department or some of these agencies, because as Monica and Marvin mentioned, they're so grateful they have a great team, and so and they get all the support they can, so you won't be alone. And really, as our societies and our communities have changed in the last few years, and will continue to change because times change, it's easy to forget the importance of community and sense of belonging and a place that you are connected. And I keep saying this, but it's in our strategic plan for a reason. It's not just fluffy words. It's because we honor and understand the need and the importance of connection and feeling like you belong and you're valued and you're relevant. And this is really important. So really, our communities, everyone in our communities and every adult has an impact on raising the children in our communities. Every single one, whether it's supporting teachers, educators, social workers, everyone. And in different ways, we're all officially kind of foster parents in our community, trying to support these organizations and the work that's done. And so please, as a community, we need to support foster families, foster parents, and agencies that support them. And really, thanks to all of I was looking for the list that you had, foster parents, social workers, advocates, volunteers, and people who fund all these things, because every child deserves a champion in their lives, and someone who won't give up on them and who understands the power of connection and insists that they be the possibility they can be. And that is definitely Monica and Marvin and all of you in this room, because you never give up. You never give up on any of these kids, and we all should not give up on you or them or us, because I believe that through the power of connection, our community is one of the best in the state, and we need to continue to foster those connections and make sure that every one of these kids in our communities has a champion, and that we're going to champion a healthy and prosperous future with these children, because they are our foundation and future. So thank you. Deep, heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for everything that you all do. Thanks.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, just thank you, Angela, for bringing this forward today. My parents were foster parents. They did not foster as many as 70 children, so that is quite remarkable. To Monica and Marvin, we're really glad to hear you're here today, that we can honor you once again, as we did at the All Staff Awards. You're obviously humble people who just care about kids and do a great job, and we're really grateful that you're in our community helping children in our community. So thank you for that work. And thank you, as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, to the foster and adoptive families of Larimer County to provide that respite and that care for and some resources for people who are doing this what can be often hard work of taking care of children in our community that have experienced trauma and that might have, learning disabilities and other challenges, and really, kind of wrapping your arms around those folks and giving them some additional support. So that's wonderful work. And then Angela, obviously, thank you, and Heather, to your team. I mean, doing great work to find families to take care of kids and to make sure to try to reunite those families ultimately. And so this is some of the most important work we do in our community, taking care of children. Probably the most important work, honestly, that we do in our is to really make sure that children are taken care of. And so bravo to everyone who does that work, and we're happy to support you today.
So thank you, Marvin and Monica, for your dedication. I'm sure it's quite the labor of love that you all do. Thank you, Katie, and the FAFLAC, Foster and Adoptive Families of Larimer County, all the work that you folks do, and certainly our Angela and Heather and your team in our Human Services Department, providing sort of the underlying backbone of all of this in many ways. And then finally, throughout the morning, it's been interesting. I mean, there's clearly, in my mind, there's clearly a common thread here from our first proclamation to the proclamation honoring foster parents and foster families. That is, the effort, the common thread that I think helps to connect our community tapestry together. So that's very neat. Yes. Well, we have a proclamation, I believe, right? Who did the proclamation? You did? I'm losing track. So there's a proclamation on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. If you folks are okay, we'll take another photograph with the proclamation. All right, we have resumed. We had some good celebrations and recognitions this morning. We'll now move on to our last two items on the agenda for today. The next one is the county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I will keep it brief. It's really hard to top all those proclamations. It was wonderful. I think it was a good reminder. You mentioned the word tapestry. These people with various backgrounds and different age groups and with different skills and abilities come together. A day like this feels like a celebration to really recognize what makes Northern Colorado and Larimer County so special. We do have a lot of wonderful volunteers, wonderful staff, wonderful people in our community that we really do recognize in a sincere way. I'm going to keep my remarks really brief. I met internally with some of the elected offices last week. I met with the assessor's office, the district attorney, and the sheriff's office. I also had the pleasure of meeting quarterly with the Fort Collins Downtown Development Director, Matt Robinault. We often meet to coordinate on various things that might be going on in our community. And then I did meet with Summit Stone Health Partners for our quarterly meeting on the Longview campus and what's going on there. And it's exciting to hear as things develop and as records begin to be created and we begin to get numbers and information about that service, how well it is received, the difference it's making in our community. We hope that by fall there'll be good information that we can share. Some numbers that will, I think, really be staggering to the community, how much that need was and how it's being met. We know that there are some growing pains, and so we are working through those as any new organization, new service would provide. But it is great to see the good partnership between Summit Stone. It's a candid partnership, and so I appreciate that as well. So that is my update.
Thank you. Any questions for our county manager? Feedback? All right, well, then we'll go into the commissioner activity reports. We'll start with Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll also be brief because it's been a long meeting with a lot of great proclamations. Met with the Extension Board last week, talked about some of the great work they're doing with 4-H and the opening of the farmers market. So lots of great work happening in Extension. It was also Transportation Week for me, which means at least 4 meetings during that week. And one of the new ones that's been added is the High Plains Boulevard Coalition, working on what the plans are for High Plains Boulevard. So that's a meeting with Johnstown and Weld County and Loveland, other folks that are and Meade that are kind of along that High Plains Boulevard area. So working to kind of have a strategic plan for how that boulevard gets developed. Then met on Friday with the Regional Air Quality Commission. They are, I think, out of dollars already for the mow down pollution plan. People are taking advantage of those electric mowers, and that is great. But we'll try to figure out ways to infuse more dollars into that program since it's so popular and it really makes a difference in our air quality. And then on Saturday, attended the Animal Friends Alliance dinner fundraiser, which is always pretty amazing. Lovely to be able to pet kittens and puppies while you raise dollars for a good cause. And then on Sunday, there was an event with a Yes in My Backyard and ASCSU and other folks to celebrate the demise of U+2 and really to make sure that we're statewide, we will no longer be discriminating as to what a family looks like, and people can live in houses with multiple bedrooms and not be related. And so a real victory for housing in our community. As we know, we have a housing crisis, and so really using the available stock we have in an efficient way is a good way to help solve that problem. And so I'm happy that the governor signed that bill and that our legislators worked hard to make that happen. So that is it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Shaddock McNally.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll start back on April 30th. On Tuesday, I attended, met with some former folks who served on our Office on Aging Advisory Council. They all had kind of a get together, and it was really great to see folks some of them I haven't seen in probably 4 years. And such a great community. And I just thought it was kind of nice to share about that, because even after all these years, just thinking about our boards and commissions, our created community and connections and how they all support each other. It was a large group, and it was great to see all of them. And they were all sharing stories and just talking about the Office on Aging still in the work. And they were talking about the resource fair coming up. And I just wanted to share that because it just warmed my heart that some of the times when we have people serve on boards and commissions, we're creating connections to community. So I wanted to kind of loop that in, that these are doing things in ways we maybe not realize. And so I wanted to kind of share that story. And then I chaired the Loveland Urban Renewal Authority board meeting on April 30th. Mostly wanted to have kind of a level setting and plan our meetings for the rest of the year, and who does the budget and not, and because we've had a lot of interesting meetings that were reactive, and I wanted to be proactive this meeting. And so it was a productive meeting, and we got done way before the Loveland City Council meeting needed to convene. Wednesday, I was very proud to have to host, and Commissioner Stevens joined me, our Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser and Jamie Feld, who is the Deputy Opioid Response Director, came with some of their staff, and some of Stone Health Partners, Laura Walker, and a lot of our staff from our Longview Acute Care Stabilization campus. Came to tour and talk about how we did it, what kind of services. Dr. Leslie Brooks was there. It was a really great conversation. We took a brief tour, and it was really a powerful conversation, and I wanted to thank them for coming, and thank our Attorney General Phil Weiser for coming and the work he's doing, and appreciate him recognizing some of the great work being done in Larimer County by lots of organizations, and that is one of the reasons he's bringing the Colorado Opioid Abatement Conference to Larimer County at the Embassy Suites and the Ranch, and we're partnering with them along with the Rethinking Addiction Conference in September into October, and so really proud that he wants to highlight and showcase some of the work that we're doing. I went to the Larimer County Resource Fair for Office on Aging, and that was, again, like I said, was really a great opportunity to check on resources and connect with folks. I had some phenomenal speakers, including Barbara from the Larimer County Sheriff's Office on scams, Ricardo Perez from our Office of Emergency Management about being prepared, and Congressman Neguse and his staff, well, not him, but his office was there to help constituents connect. And I thought that was a nice addition to have some of our federal partners come and provide help with any resources older adults might need in our communities. So that was very exciting to attend. And I was very proud, as asked to come, and we have our monthly regional learning opportunities for the opioid abatement councils and across the whole state. And I was asked, along with Jefferson County, to highlight how some of the opioid abatement money has been used for capital expenses and what that looks like. And because this is really, all this work is stuff that's never been done before. We're kind of learning as we go. They wanted to some of the things we've done with our increasing our co-responder program, and then also how we're doing housing vouchers for sober living, and how that's really kind of unique, and how we've gotten that money out. And so I'm excited to say we'll probably be helping sponsor Larimer County, or the Opioid Abatement Council, will be sponsoring that conference. So I wanted to share about that. Older American Month I shared earlier. It's just so exciting to celebrate the volunteers and the caregiver of the month. The volunteer that was recognized is someone who also volunteers in the elections office and helps with election judge opportunities and technical IT stuff. And so sounds like she's a super volunteer, does all kinds of things in the community, and just really glad to celebrate all of them. And again, to the Office on Aging, the Aging Services staff and Human Services, well done. And it was really, I really enjoyed myself this year. And I showed up for the Water Master Plan open house that was held here in this room that night. And it was great to connect with staff and have those conversations. And we had some really engaged, important stakeholders who came and talked about the plan. Of course, I was focusing on watershed health and wetlands and things. So I want to dig in, have some more time to dig into that plan. But I like to set up in all the different plans and some of those consultants we were able to talk with. And I thought that was a really powerful open house. And thanks to Danielle and Leslie Ellis and Dalen Figgs and everyone that's involved with that. It's really important work. I've been meeting and talking with the Colorado State Forest Service and the state forester, and I want to announce to you that there's now a new deputy director of the Colorado State Forest Service who they kind of stole away from Deborah Water. Christina Burry is now the deputy director, and she is. I served because she's no longer on the Colorado Forest Health Council with her. She chaired our on the other committee I'm on, the leveraging resources, and she is going to be a phenomenal resource, really focusing on watersheds, and really welcome her. I'm not sure if she's living up here now, but just I wanted to share that because it's really exciting news. And then I took a tour of the Rawhide power plant just to kind of dig in to see how things work, and providing energy to three of our, including along my hometown, a pretty major power provider, and got to ask the questions, and super proud to be at the brick wall breaking for the youth homeless shelter called The Landing. May 8th, I thought about this. We were standing there last week, and it was under 2 years since May 18th, 2022, when I convened kind of a commissioner community conversation, and we brought all those people in the room, and there was no plans. There was no group. It was kind of people, all different groups kind of working to do the same thing and had the best intentions. And then it was that meeting where kind of the catalyst happened where everyone realized, including we, Larimer County, everyone had pieces to the puzzle, but no one had all the pieces. And so all those pieces came together after that meeting. I want to thank Nicole Armstrong from Matthews House and the Matthew House Board, the Thompson School District, Dr. Schaefer, the Poudre School District Board, and Dr. Kingsley, our Human Services Department, Laura Walker, Thad, Paul, all of them, how exciting it was to be there and to be a part of this as commissioners as we brought in some of that funding of $1.5 million, and to be there to break the wall and hear from those students or those youth that have been benefiting from the Matthews House and the work. We were all given a pair of socks at that meeting that was designed by a 17-year-old who was homeless, who lived under the tree at the church across from where this new youth home shelter would be. It's called The Landing, and she designed the socks with paper airplanes that are kind of her way of coping, that knowing she could fly away and get away from her circumstances. And Laura Walker explains that much better than I can. But it was very moving to realize how close it is to even a youth that had lived under a tree just recently across the street. It was powerful. I'm really excited for the partnership. The first youth homeless shelter of its kind built in Colorado in over 10 years, and just super excited to be a part of that. And got to speak at Larimer County 101, which was at Longview, which was exciting, and lots of great questions that I got to present with our district attorney, Gordon McLaughlin, and just really great conversations. Our Forest Health Council meeting, we're working on our 2025 legislative priorities, which might involve CSU extension and 4-H. So it'll be interesting as that develops as we go forward. Really appreciate Carrie Rollins and everyone who are working to do youth development and leadership development across our great state. And Saturday, I went up to Carter Lake to meet with a large group of constituents about the concerns of the open space around Carter Lake and the amount of traffic and people and wildlife, and just really exciting to see rattlesnakes and all the wildlife around the break up there. So I just want to shout out to everyone to be aware, snake aware as you go into open spaces, and be aware and allow them to space, since they live in our open spaces as well. I also attended Viva Paz Vegas, the gala for the animals, and it's just really important that we understand how important it is to take care of all the members of our community, and appreciate the co-founders of that nonprofit. And it was quite a large event, lots of great things going on, and I appreciate the ability to have some puppy therapy. I was very tempted to take some of those beautiful and loving puppies home, and I think that's all I'll share for Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be brief. Just mention a couple of things that have been mentioned. One is that some of us attended. Commissioner Stevens was there. I don't know if Commissioner Shattuck McNally was there, but there was a memorial service, celebration of life, on Saturday at the Foothills Unitarian Church for former Senator Bob Bacon, former PSD school board member. His wife, Bev Schmidt, passed away, I think, on April 16th. So it was a really pretty amazing event. So glad we could go there. Friday, I was at the State Board of Human Services, and two of the rules that we moved along that are important for folks to know. One is having to do with the bill from 2021-1259, which increases the basic cash assistance amount that folks participating in the Colorado Works or TANF program, temporary assistance for needy families. We moved that past second reading, so that will go into effect, and it will mean more basic cash assistance dollars for people on public assistance. We also had a very spirited first reading conversation regarding another rule having to do with county responsibilities to report falsification of records. So that was State Board of Human Services. The two other things I'll mention, one is I was able to participate in the Family Leadership Training Institute, their graduation ceremony, and I have a program if anyone's interested, but it was a really lovely event at the First Presbyterian Church. A lot of people were very happy and proud of their achievements, and it was great to celebrate. Carrie Weiner, our extension director, was also there present. And then the last thing I'll mention, every year, the high school students, I think primarily at Poudre High School, do what they call TEDx Mountain Avenue, and it's like a TEDx version. And there were 8 presenters, younger people, adults, young adults, and so forth. But one of them was our Chief Judge, Susan Blanco, who I think did an extraordinary job talking about her grandmother and how she prepares food, and it's colorful Persian food, and I learned a little bit about carving radishes to make them look like blossoms as an ornament around the dish. She also did an amazing job of talking about the genesis of the competency courts in Larimer County, and how now there are 11 counties that are doing competency courts as a result of the work here. So I think that's all I have. I believe we're done for today. It's 11:15 a.m. We are adjourned. Thanks to everyone for helping.